Hello everybody, I'm Roxy and this is Write Me BS. So today I bring you a video that I love watching and I love making and I love thinking about it. It makes me so excited every year, and it's my 2019 goals reflection and my 2020 goals setting. So this year has been one of my best reading years ever. I'm so excited about that. Not so much in quantity. I think I might finish around 100 books, which is, average, I think, for a lot of readers. But I've read so many books I've loved. Actually, crafting my top books lists this year has been very, very hard. And I'm reading books right now that I'm adoring, so I don't know how I'll do it. It's just... Anyways, it's been a great reading year. I think each year that goes by, I know myself better as a person and as a reader, and I know what advice to take and what recommendations to take and which ones to ignore. So I'm very pleased about that. Anyways, this year I wanted to read 5 big books, and I'm almost done with that. I have 100 or so pages of Passion by A.S. Byatt, and I'm taking The Secret History and The Overstory to my Christmas break. I'm leaving on the 21st and I'm going to be there a week or so. Yes, I think it's 7 days. Anyways, I'm going to Playa del Carmen in Mexico. I'm very excited, and I'm going to be resting a lot and reading a lot by the pool, which is not usually my cup of tea. I'm definitely a winter person, but this was a trip that sort of happened and I'm very excited. So that was done. I also did very well with the very, very short books challenge. I wanted to read, I don't remember if 10 or 15, but I read all of them because those two big books and very, very short books were books that I didn't usually gravitate towards once I bought them. They sounded cool, but then I got them, I didn't read them. So that's what I was trying to correct. Worked out great. For next year, I want to continue with the 5 big book challenge, but I want to include not only page count, but also just coffee table books, because I have a lot of them that, are 300 pages long, which is not usually a big book, but it is, because it's not a book that I can carry around, which is why I bought a lot of them that I haven't read. And so that's what I want to correct. I also wanted to reread a lot this year, and I did. I'm so pleased because I also had set this goal for 2018 and it did not go well. I did reread some, but this year I reread so much and I was so pleased with it. Not even when I was little and rereading the same book over and over again did I reread so broadly as this year. So I hope to continue down the path. I'm very excited. Then I also joined halfway through the year to Natalie from Curious Reader in her nonfiction reading challenge. I'm so excited. I've had a blast. I was very pleased because I could feel the problem with things that I already wanted to read or that mostly I already owned. There was one book that I got from my uni library that I had actually ordered for them to buy, so it was kind of the same thing. So very excited about it. I'm not sure if I'm completing this in December. I'm certainly aiming to, but I don't want to put extra pressure because I started this in July or August, so it's okay if I don't finish this year. But if I don't finish by December, I'll definitely be finished by January. So I'm very excited about that. I'm also joining her in her 2020 challenge, which she has called Curious Adventure. And the prompts this year are amazing. They are very different and much more abstract than 2019's prompt, so that's very interesting. I'm already making a list, and of course I'm going to film a wrap-up because I did film a TBR, and I will link that down below, as well as Natalie's 2 announcements for this year's and next year's challenges. But I have stayed surprisingly close to it, but I have made some adjustments, and of course I want to tell you what I thought about the book. So I definitely will film a wrap-up once that's done, and I will after that film a TBR, but just know that that TBR is being written down already. So those are the challenges that I did in 2019 and the challenges that I'm going to do for 2020. I also have a bit of, I want to say reading goal, but it's not strict, but it's an idea that I lifted from Katie from Books and Things, and it's the ideal month thing. So basically, I created what my ideal reading month would look like in terms of genre. Because I am such a big mood reader, but sometimes I have too many moods and my moods change a lot. And I would like to read a bit more, be a bit more balanced in my reading. Of course, not bringing things that I don't want to read, but within my reading taste, things that I already buy and gravitate towards. Just bring that into every month. So I was asked how many books I read a month, and I think a good average is 7, because there are months that are awesome where I'm basically not doing anything but reading and dancing, and that's great. But then I have other months where I'm like stressing out because I've read like 3 books because I've been working or studying really, really hard. So, you know, on average, I think 7 is a really good number. And the categories that I came up with, I'm going to read these. One is a classic of any kind, especially modern classics. I buy so many of them because they are my favorite classic genre and I want to read more of them. Then 2, a reread, and I'm actually planning on doing a project, again, loose project, not like a reading challenge, but more of a goal or like an orientation. Then 3, contemporary fiction. I consider contemporary fiction anything that came out this century, but I might do exceptions for backlists books from like the 90s or the 80s, but anything earlier than that I would consider a modern classic already. Then 4, fiction in translation or in Spanish. So here's the thing. I have been reading a lot of fiction in English lately, which is great. There's a lot of great fiction in English, but I think I've neglected a lot of Spanish fiction, Spanish speaking fiction, and especially Latin American fiction. I used to read a lot of like really experimental Latin American fiction, and I also really love certain authors such as Gabriel Garcia Marquez, and I just have not been reading them as much just because I've been focusing on English speaking world. So I want to correct that a bit. But also I want to read more French literature, Italian literature, Russian, Japanese literature, which is like something I love so much. And for some reason this year I did not read a lot of it, and I want to correct that next year. So that's number 4. Then a poetry collection or play. I want to make time to really absorb them. Sometimes like with poetry collections, I love them, but I read them so fast, you know? And then with plays, I would like to make time to like read a play as if I were going to the place. Like, okay, I'll save these 3 hours to pretend I'm going to the theater and read the play instead. Then 6, essay collection, biography, or memoir. So this is a genre that, especially essay collections, but yeah, also biographies and memoirs. I've read so many of them this year, but I only want to read more and more, especially essay collections. I have a lot of collections and anthologies that I think I should get to next year. And then finally, other nonfiction. You know, I'm such a huge nonfiction reader that basically anything that's not an essay, biography, or memoir, I probably want to pick up, and I have so many different choices. That's it. Again, it's not that I want to fulfill the challenge every single month. If one month I need to read like 4 or 5 modern classics, that's fine. But whenever I'm hesitant and I'm not sure what I'm in the mood of, it's good to have something to reach to and say, oh, I haven't read a play, or oh, I haven't read an essay collection in like 2 months. Maybe it's time to pick one up. So I did this chart and I'm very pleased with it. As I said, I sort of stole or adapted this idea from Katie from Books and Things. So I'm going to link the video where she announces this down below. Then I also have some like random reading goals. It's genre based. I don't necessarily want to read all of these books, and if you notice, there are some written in pen and some in pencil, and this is because I just want to read books that I already own. I think it's a challenge when you are actively exchanging and getting books that you sometimes forget to go to the books that you previously owned. So I want to make sure that I read these books that I selected with so much care and love, and I really want to read. So I have some that like are fixed, and then some others that if I read a book that fulfills that challenge. So for example, I have modern classics, short stories, big books, plays, poetry collections, etc. If it fulfills that challenge, then I'll add it, as long as I purchased it this year, or ideally even before that. So those are all my challenges. One thing that I do want to do is continue making the 3-book TBRs that I've been doing on my Bookstagram, link down below. I'm going to upload the wrap up for those TBRs in January, I think. They are all on my saved Insta stories, so I upload the Insta stories and then save them. So here's the thing. That worked out really well while I followed the TBRs, but then I started making too many TBRs too much in advance, and it sort of fell apart. That's the truth. It didn't really work out. But while I was following them very strictly, it worked out great. So I think I just need to focus more and continue with those 3-book TBRs. And knowing that 3 books is what I'm really comfortable juggling, so like having 2 different books at night or like at home, and then 1 sort of day commute book, I think that works really well for me, and I think that's what I should aim at. So my aim for 2020 is to craft these 3-book TBRs, but not to start the next one until I'm at least halfway through the 3rd book, if that makes any sense. So those are my reading goals. I'm very excited. I just think that what I want to do more, like my only real challenge is like stick to the books and not be as all over the place. I think that's one of my biggest issues. And it does give me a lot of anxiety sometimes. So other than that, I'm good. Like I don't want a 0 TBR. So I'm good like with buying books, but I do want to read the books that I purchased because that's why I got them in the first place. And also I just want to read broadly in terms of what I'm comfortable reading, or like more than comfortable of things that I wanted to read in the first place, you know? So making sure I check out all the short story collections that I get, all the novels that I get, all the biographies, and so on and so forth. So please, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up and comment down below, especially what are your reading goals for next year? Are you joining any read-alongs or any readathons? Of course, there are a lot of events in the year that I'll accommodate into these challenges, but for now, this is what I want to focus on. And next year, I start my teaching program, hopefully, and a lot of things might happen that I'm still not 100% sure of. So of course I'll let you know, but I have the feeling it's going to be an exciting year. So yeah, that's it. I hope you like this video, and as I said, like it, subscribe, comment. You can find me on other social media. All the links are down below, and see you next time.